person's nice, person's friendly. A couple months later, came in, picked up some food. Hey, Mike, I know you said you didn't need anyone earlier. Are you looking? Do you need any? A couple hours. I'll do whatever. Whatever is necessary. No big deal. Didn't need anyone again. Came in 2 months later, and that day, we determined that one of the employees that we had weren't really serving the hours that they were getting, and we decided to give this person some new hours. So be careful with the persistence, because it's not black and white. It's all gray area, and you got to be smart about it. I mean, think about, I'm getting these texts all the time from Sprint's my carrier. I'm getting all these texts about soliciting movie previews and all these different, and it's really, really annoying. And I would never sign up for any of them, because that's my phone. Why are you just sending me these free offers? That persistence is annoying. So keep in mind, it's something that you want to think about. If you were in that situation, what would you want? How would you want that person to approach you? And just think about it. Try to read their signs. Adaptability, another huge skill that employers look for. Why is adaptability important? Well, things change. Again, this economy right now, people are being asked to do things that they were never asked to do before. Work harder, work longer hours, do more with less resources. And you need to be able to show that if things happen and things change, and they do all the time in industries and companies, in cities. Look at Katrina. Look what happened there. All of a sudden, everything's going on in New Orleans. It's a thriving city. Levees break, and there's tragedy. Those people needed to adapt. I have a friend who lives down there, and the way I can't even imagine the tragedy her and her family went through, but the way that she talks about it is inspiring. She says, you know what choice do I have? I can't turn back time. She moved to Chicago. She has 2 jobs. She's doing really well. And more importantly, she has a really positive attitude about life, because what choice does she have? She could sit there and complain and complain about what was me, but that doesn't help her situation. So showing employers how you can be adaptable, you can talk about that in school. How many are you involved in athletics or any type of extracurricular activities? All right. Things happen on the field. You look at the Lou Gehrig example. He was playing for the New York Yankees. Guy who was in front of him, Lou Gehrig was on the bench. Guy who was playing in front of him was an all-star. Guy gets hurt. Lou Gehrig takes over. The rest is history. The guy's a Hall of Famer. The guy that got hurt never played again. You have to be willing to, when the opportunity comes, take it. Okay. When my family and I were hiking the Panama Canal years ago, and my dad was not in good shape. He had exhaustion, was really not being able to make it too well. And we're hiking along, and my dad's wife is hiking with him about 100 yards ahead. Well, all of a sudden we hear a train on the train tracks, and we were really worried about it. We didn't know how we were going to get back. And so she gets up on the train tracks, Indiana Jones style, with a machete in her hand, and stops the train so that we can get on the train and get him back to Cologne in Panama. It's actually a true story, but it's a perfect example of adaptability. Usually it's not that extreme, but again, showing how you can be adaptable. That person who came in and kept being persistent with me, they use the term, I'll do anything, okay? Maybe they applied for X, but I don't need X, I need Y. And okay, well great, I can use you in that situation. Again, what's going to be valuable to employers, because that's going to get you the job and also keep the job, okay? I have 3 positions in my restaurant: manager, driver, and what we call in-store, basically a cook. The people that are most valuable to me are the people that can do all 3 of those. Now that's pretty rare, but I have employees that can do in-store and drive. Now you have to have a car, you have to be able to drive and do the tasks in store, but who am I going to want to schedule for more hours if I have a choice between someone who can only do 1 job or someone that can do 2? I have flexibility. People call off. We get orders when it snows. The other day I had a customer of mine, they had a gas leak on their property. They have residents, they had to place an $800 order on a day that we budget to do like $750. So they doubled my sales in a 2-hour period. And if I didn't have the people on staff to help me with that, then I would go out and find other people that could. And that wouldn't be good for the people that, you know, that were there that day for me. Lifelong learning is a topic that you hear a lot about. Obviously, you guys are in school, so learning is probably the last thing that you want to hear about. But when you get out of school and you're working and you're not in this environment of constantly being educated, going to seminars, reading, you get to learn about whatever you want. Books are really inexpensive, and you know, I go on Amazon all the time and buy used books. It costs me like $2, and I get to read a book that, you know, some man or woman put hours and, you know, months, weeks, years of time investing in, and I can read it and get all that knowledge, you know, in the amount of time it takes to read a book. And as opposed to a teacher, and teachers are great and wonderful, but you're limited in what they know and what all of your teachers know. Here, you can find out about anything in the world that someone writes about. So lifelong learning, and you'll be asked that a lot in job interviews, because people don't, you throw on your application where you went to school. And that's good. But if you have something that, again, that'll differentiate you, well, you know what? I decided that I wanted to go and take a class on international travel over the summer, and that's what you're applying for work-wise. Well, that's really important, that's really valuable, and that's going to help differentiate you and perhaps get you that job that you're interested in that field. Take classes, read books in the field that you're interested in. And it'll also help you find out fields you're not interested in. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people and they're graduating from college in majors that they have no desire to stay in. I went to talk to a class at Drexel about 8 years ago, and I'm talking to these kids, they're juniors and seniors graduating with a degree in the service and hospitality industry, service industry, the biggest industry in the world, employs more than 1 billion people. And I got this really weird vibe in the middle of the talk, and it was just like a Q&A session, and I said, how many of you guys are going to stay in your field? And like 10% of the class raised their hand. And I was flabbergasted, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't you transfer? Why are you doing this? And they're just like, well, I just want to get out, get my degree, and then get out of it. Well, it would have been nice if they would have figured that out freshman year, maybe doing an internship, maybe talking to people in the industry before they spend 4 years in a major that they're not interested in. I mean, college and high school for that matter too, it's definitely an education. It's not a trade school, so it's not wasted, but may have been better served if they would have been able to find that information out before that. Communication. There are so many ways for you guys to communicate. Email, text, obviously pick up the cell phone, home phone if any of us even have them anymore. You can, on my netbook, I can, Skype, someone all over the world for free, just using a video phone. You can IM someone, again, for free. There are a lot of tools out there. The downside is that people, because there's so much communication, people aren't as good at communicating as they used to be. Perfect example, I can't tell you how many cover letters I've gotten where just simple words are spelled wrong. The person's name, the person who they're applying to's name is spelled wrong. Are you going to give someone a job if they can't even spell your name right? You're the person who's going to hire them. I mean, exactly. I mean, if that's not important to them to figure out, then do you think they're going to care about the quality of your product at whatever company you're working for? Absolutely not. Well, sorry, that's kind of a leap, but those are the kind of connections people make. So when you're communicating, be careful out there. I don't know if you guys heard about, and this is a really horrible story, but it happens. A guy who got fired for using his Twitter account. He worked for the Philadelphia